Welcome back. In this week's video, I want to go over a newer feature in Addigy, which are variables. Now, the point of variables in Addigy are to limit what you're building in the catalog to a single item or less items and be able to use variables inside of that for the customization for your different clients or your different departments. Now, specifically, this is only built for your smart installers, but Addigy does say they're going to bring it to more aspects of the platform in the future. But today's example, we're just going to be talking about software because that's what's out. I think one of the most straightforward use cases of this are license keys. So we're going to be walking through building a piece of software using a variable as a license key. For our example, we use Sentinel-1 quite a bit. And so we're going to be using that as our example. So let's hop over to Addigy. And we're going to start by creating our variable. So we're going to go to catalog, variables, and we're going to create a new one. So I'm just going to call it Sentinel-1 license key, and that does need to be all one word. So no spaces, no underscores, nothing like that. Depending on what you're doing, you may want to add a default value. In this case, because the license key for Sentinel-1 is going to be different on each time I'm using it, I'm not going to use the default value. Under type, you can choose whether you want it to be encrypted or plain text. In this case, plain text is fine. And here now we can go and add our policy variations. So what you're going to do is you can select here from the dropdown what policy you want this to override on. For today, I'm just going to do my test environment. And I'm going to put in a fake license key and click save. So it does tell you quite nicely here underneath how to actually use it. Their example is using it as an if and statement. We're going to be using it in an echo command, but you can pretty much use it anywhere in that installation script, which we'll walk through here in a second. So let's go over to my software and we're going to create a new piece of smart software and we're just going to call it Sentinel-1 test. And normally what I would do is I would put dash customer one, and I'd be building these individually for each customer. But the whole point of variables is we'll just be able to have one Sentinel-1 installer and be building those variables for the different policies you want to deploy it to. We're going to do that. And then real quick, I am just going to build it out like I normally would. So I'm going to put the version number in here. We're going to select our Sentinel-1 latest installer. We're going to add our install command. And then here in the install command section, this is where we get to use the variable itself. So for Sentinel-1 specifically, what you do is you add a echo command that puts the key into a registration file, which is this. So in the past, like I said, if this was for each customer, I would be typing in or copying and pasting that key in here. What I can do now is I can just use the $sign and it automatically brings up a little window for me to select, and I can select that Sentinel-1 license key. Just clean that up so it takes out that other quotation mark, and that's it. So now that I'll use that in its installation, we can go ahead and save that, and you would be able to deploy that as needed. And that's great. Now, let's say I have a new customer that we're going to be pushing out Sentinel-1 to. Well, that's really easy because what I can come in here and do is just go back to that variable. I'd be able to come in here and select a new policy. So let's say like our internal policy, put in their license key, save, and then I'd be able to deploy that same one installer to them. So I don't have to build a whole other installer, a whole other smart software for that other customer. You can also, once you have it used in something, you can come down here to this show usages button and it will show you where that variable is being used. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this was a good 101 on how to start using variables in your software installers in Addigy. If you have any other questions about variables or Addigy or MDM in general, feel free to either drop those as a comment and we can make a video about those in the future, or you can reach out to me directly. I can be reached at Marshall_CIT on the Mac Admin Slack channel, Marshall@cranstoninc.com via email, or on our website, cranstonit.com. Thanks so much for watching.